My name is Kelly Hunter. I have known Leslie for almost 13 years. When I first met Lil, we were both in college. I was in a new place and didn't know a soul. Leslie took me under her wing and showed me around, and we became friends pretty quickly. Throughout the next 3 years, we did pretty much everything together. She is one of the best fishing partners I have ever had. We had a lot of good times, and I still miss those days. I remember back then always being amazed by Leslie, how caring she was for other people and especially animals. She always had so much compassion for a homeless person walking down the street or a stray cat that she thought might be hungry. The thought of another living creature suffering literally made her sad. Leslie was one of the most kind, selfless people I had ever met. I ended up only living in Durant for a little over 3 years. After I moved home, Leslie and I kept in touch, and I would go down and visit. But as people do, we started to grow apart. Until one day. I will never forget the day Leslie called and told me that she was pregnant. She was so quiet and reserved. At first I thought something was wrong. After she told me, all of the excitement came pouring out. Her life was about to change, and she welcomed it with open arms. In the coming months, I watched my friend change. The person that I considered the most kind, selfless person I knew became even more so. She didn't know this little man that was growing inside of her, but she loved and cared for him unconditionally. All she was focused on was being a good mother and giving that little guy the best life ever. After Jasper was born, I had the pleasure of seeing the love, the worry, the joy, the amazement all pour out of Leslie. I had never seen her feel or look at anything the way she did Jasper. She loved him more than anything in this world. As time went on, Lil and I kind of grew apart again. When we would talk, she would tell me all about Jasper and how he was doing, what he could do nowadays, and how much he was growing up. I could tell he was the love of her life. But I was starting to notice some things as being odd. All Lil would talk about openly was Jasper. Anything to do with her or just life in general was avoided or the subject was changed. I thought this odd, but just chalked it up to us not being as close as we used to be. If I had only known what was going on. There was an occasion or two where I mentioned coming for a visit, and oddly that was shot down with excuses of work or other plans. Again, if I had only known what was going on. Almost 4 years ago, I was staying in Ardmore for work. I got a hold of Leslie and made plans to meet up at one of our old fishing spots. My best friend and I met Leslie and Jim. We made small talk, we fished, we talked about a few old memories. That's about it. There isn't one thing about that day that wasn't odd. Our visit that day didn't last long, but I was happy to see my friend. When I told Lil bye that day, the hug lasted a few more seconds than normal. I wish I would have known why. That day on the way back to Ardmore, my friend Terry had a lot of questions as to what was going on with Leslie. She had only met them for about 2 hours and knew something was off. Come to find out later, Jim had a loaded .22 revolver under the seat of the pickup that day that no one knew about. Apparently, he thought I might have been a threat. If I had only known. After that day, Leslie and I didn't talk very often. When everything came out about Jim and the situation that Lil had been in for God knows how long, a lot of things suddenly became very clear. We all know what has been going on since then, so there's no need for details. All I know now is that Lil is damaged. She is broken, she is hurt, and she is sad. The things she lived with and hid from everyone, she did for Jasper. All she wanted was to protect that little boy. I know Lil, and I know living without him is killing her. But I also know that Jasper is the luckiest little boy alive. He has a mama that lives for him and only him. He is all that she cares about in this world, like I said before. She hurts, she worries, she cries, all for Jasper. When all this is over, I'm confident that he will know and be shown firsthand how much his mama loves him and has missed him. They will have all the time in the world to make up for lost time and make all new memories. Leslie will be whole again. Jasper and Leslie, I love you both. You, Jasper, are the luckiest little man I know, and you, Lil, are by far the strongest and most loving person I know. Thank you for allowing me to be in your lives. I love you both.